Hi again, David McGinley here at the 2019 conference for the International Association for Near-Death Studies. I'm sitting here with Sylvia Rabati, who is from Jordan, and you're here doing some research as well. Can you tell us a bit about that work?
Well, I started, doing my PhD study in philosophy, and mainly the most important part for me was the philosophy of mind. So the reason I joined this kind of program is that I had so many questions about life. Who am I? Why am I here for? Where am I gonna go after that? So there were a lot of questions that, were behind, the reason to study the philosophy. So I finished all the courses, and the intention was to start with the thesis part. I couldn't find someone who is specialized there in philosophy, and mainly philosophy of mind. So I started searching for someone who is expert, who has, this kind of support outside of the country. And I was lucky enough, to find someone who is specialized in that in Chicago.
Okay.
So I decided to move over, temporarily to proceed with my PhD thesis. I was introduced to the near-death experiences and, for the organization that is supporting those people. And I was, really so lucky to attend the first, meeting with them. That was, 3 months ago in Chicago.
Yes.
Where they mentioned that there is an upcoming conference. I thought, I'm so lucky. So I thought, the thing that I need to do, first of all, is that to get official permission in Jordan, where I can access, let's say, medical records. I can access any kind of information that can support those people. Because, I had the chance to interview two of them. One of them, he had this kind of experience 10 years ago, and he couldn't share it with anybody.
But the details and the emotional energy of it had not faded, despite the 10 years.
Yeah.
You sense that as he shared his story with you.
Yeah.
What was his experience?
Well, his experience, he was so young, and he had a motorcycle, accident where, he died. He was announced dead. Then he went through that experience, that kind of experience, and he was unable to share it with anybody because, he didn't want anybody, to be judgmental and to tell that, can you see him? He was the same one, but now he lost his mind. He's crazy, he was totally, very sensitive for that, and he couldn't simply share it with anybody. Mm-hmm. So 10 years later, when I tried to approach him, I learned, from one of his closest friends. He said, I've met someone who is, interested in studying these cases. And I called him 2 days later, and he was like, at last I could find someone, who I can share with him my story.
Yeah.
So that was, it touched my heart.
How in Jordan are these stories received? Either by the medical or the scientific community or the general public? Do you find they're accepted, or is it common?
Well, actually, maybe this would be surprising that this kind of topic has never been touched before. I don't know, what is the exact reason, because, of course, it's not related to any religious, to anything, but because it's a universal, phenomena, let's say. But I think because of the awareness thing in the country or in the region.
Right.
Overall, they are not aware that this kind of experience is something normal.
Yes, up to 1 in 5 people who've had a brush with death probably had a mystical experience.
True.
And so assessing that, you've been using the Grace and Near-Death Experience scale.
Yeah, I went through that, in the very beginning process of, conducting such a kind of research to study the near-death experiences.
Yeah.
So as a reference, I used Dr. Bruce scale. And, first of all, I translated that into Arabic language in order to be, applicable there. And, for certain elements, in order to be applicable there, you need to modify certain aspects of that. So hopefully this will be very helpful, for them. At least, as I mentioned, at least someone, can tell them that it's normal. There is someone who can hear you. There is someone who can accept you with that.
And you're not out of your mind.
No, not at all.
Right?
No.
You didn't imagine this. In fact, it's fascinating how people return with a higher level of psychological equilibrium, stability, insight, sophistication. They're more sane than ever before,
Very true. Yeah.
but quite lonely because they don't know who to share this ultimate event with.
Very true. Yeah.
And they can't shake it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The effects are life-lasting, and the changes in personality, which I do encourage you to check out, are rather astounding. A shift in the existential framework of who and what we are in this world.
Very true.
Yeah, amazing. Wish you all the best in your research.
Thank you so much.
And
Thank
raising
you.
the profile.
Thank you.
Check out the talks on the website. You can purchase or have a look at the events, the talks that are going on at this conference, and go on YouTube for IANDS, IANDS.org, and you can go on their YouTube channel and look at previous presentations and check out the research. It's truly astounding. Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.